Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Sir Spam here, back with some more World of Warships action. This video we're going to be taking a look at some battleship gameplay, focusing on US battleships. We're in our Tier 3 South Carolina, the very first US battleship that you have access to. Now I do have it upgraded, but I have not Wyoming yet. So first things you're probably going to want to do when you spawn into the game, make sure that you load the AP right away. It does take 30 seconds to load your guns, so make sure that you are getting the shell type that you want in there right when you spawn in. The other thing you probably want to do is go ahead and press the M key and look at the tactical map here and predict which way you want to go. Now I know from experience, and I've shown from my previous destroy videos, that on this map any big capital ships want to stay out of this area. So we're going to be going north. So we can go ahead and set our waypoint and turn our engines on. And this also allows us, while looking at the tactical map and looking at our route, to see, where the enemies are going to be, which are going to be off of our left or port side. So this pretty much allows us to go ahead and, if you don't know, you can press Control and X together to lock your turrets in a specific direction. So if we lock our turrets off of our port side, that means that because we're going to be facing enemies off of our port side, we're going to have our guns already pre-aimed in that direction. The other nifty thing that you can do, also by the way, pressing X will unlock your guns, and then pressing Shift X will actually lock your guns on a sector, which will keep your guns pointing at that place even as you turn your ship. So you can see, you can watch as I'm turning my ship, my turrets will start to rotate to try to keep pointed right where they were, kind of locked underneath that island. So that's one way to lock your guns. And again, just like before, you can press X to unlock your guns to regain manual control. Control X will lock your guns fixed on a relative point so that they will stay pointing in that direction and will not rotate independently of your hull. So you can see as I'm turning here, the guns will keep exactly in the same position that they were before. So that's just some primary tips when you're starting the battle in a battleship. Make sure you get your AP loaded, and I loaded AP at the beginning of the battle because there are enemy battleships on the enemy team, and we'll be shooting at them first and foremost with the AP. So you want to get that in the barrel, and then make sure that you're locking your guns to the side of your ship that you think enemies are going to be spotted off of, because you definitely don't want to be going in and having to wait almost a minute for your turrets to rotate around before you can start putting good shots in. That's just no bueno. So we have a pretty nice screen of cruisers in front of us, so we're not too worried about any pesky destroyers or anything being in these islands. So we can shade pretty close to them and use them for a little bit of hard cover. Now we do have a cruiser just skirting on the edge of our range, so we'll go ahead and take aim. Fire one turret, observe the fall of shot, and then readjust. Now at this range, he just disappeared, and at that range, the dispersion of the guns is at maximum because he's just right on the edge of my aiming circle, or max range, I should say. And that's, you can see on the minimap, that dotted line will indicate to you the range of your guns. But you can see just how effective having the turrets already pointing there. It took no time at all to bring those guns right around to where we needed them. So now we do have a South Carolina coming into range here. As soon as we clear this island, we might be able to get some shots at him. And then as we go further north and start engaging those gentlemen up there, we'll start to show you a little bit more of how you should be fighting in a battleship. So as we clear the island, this guy should be in range. Again, we'll take one shot, see where those fall. Looks like they're going to fall a little bit in front of him, so we'll go ahead and readjust. And fire the rest, and this is AP, so you want to be firing right at the water line, and hopefully we get some good shots in. Now, I'm actually going to go probably toe-to-toe with this guy, as he's breaking through the middle and trying to get at our flag there. So I'm going to start maneuvering, and we'll actually show you how you should be fighting enemy battleships in a battleship. What you basically want to be doing is angling like this. And when you have shots, you can go ahead and bring your ass around to get the shots in. And then you definitely want to straighten out a little bit, as to not present your citadel directly to the enemy. And you can see the battleship RNG. It really does, you know, take a little while to whittle down some battleships if you're not getting really good shots in. Now, lucky for us, this South Carolina really isn't focused on us, and we really need to get our aim dialed in here. As we clear this island, we should be able to turn right a little bit and get our back turrets down. And he looks like he's pretty much stopping, which is interesting. So we'll continue on this course. We want to stay angled like this. We don't want to run aground, so I can't turn hard to starboard yet to get the back turrets in, but I'll start feathering a little bit and see if we can't get him just like that. Now, I'm going to aim up a little bit because he is starting to churn, and we'll go ahead and turn back. You can see we're getting pretty good damage numbers done on him. But now, at this point in time, what's going to happen is we're going to have enemies on both the starboard and port, which is a dangerous thing. You can just see the dispersion. Really not a lot of accurate fire coming in, but this South Carolina is on fire, and he's almost down. So we'll actually, yeah, I'm not going to shoot at him. Now, what I'm going to do, instead of waiting for the turrets to turn around, I'm going to go ahead and turn my ship around. Because my guns are, again, I'm going to lock them so I can swing my mouse without swinging my guns. My guns are already off my port side, so I want to utilize that, and we're going to go after this Kawachi here, using the same tactics as before with the angling. You know, feathering our shots, firing, turning our ass to fire, and then getting back into cover, and we'll see if we can't nail this guy. Watch those shots go. Pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and turn our ass. Like I said, I don't want to run aground here, so we actually are going to have to maneuver back a little bit. And hopefully not run aground. I think we're going to clear this, but at the same time, due to the position of this island, and this is, you know, one of the downsides of being next to islands. I said it was okay to kind of come close to these islands and use them as hard cover, because there weren't any destroyers, because we had that cruiser screen, so we knew that. But at the same time, it makes it very difficult, and we'll see if we can't take this guy out with a good salvo right here. So we wait for our front turret to... Some of those shells should hit. Yeah, and take him out with an actual citadel. And now we're going to go ahead and work on the St. Louis. Just because our guns are, again, pointed in that direction. We'll actually come in on him a little bit. We don't have to worry about him so much as far as taking us out. And he's actually stuck on the map border. So we want to get in between this little channel. We don't want to go behind that island off to my right, because that'll take away our firing solutions at the St. Louis. And also cut us off from firing at that other St. Louis as well for a little while. So we'll go ahead and put our forward batteries in there and see if we can't do some big damage. Pretty okay. And we don't want our rear turrets to fall around. So as we're coming across, we'll go ahead and get our rear turrets pre-aimed at this guy and see if we can't get some good damage numbers into this St. Louis as well, while we're waiting for our forward turrets to reload. Then as soon as our forward turrets reload, we'll be able to put some big hits into this guy as well. Looks like somehow all of those shells missed. And all of those shells missed. Ah, the good old RNG. So we'll go ahead, and even though this is the St. Louis, we'll go ahead and start angling again, just in case. You know, he's probably firing HE at me, so it's not really making that much of a difference. But, you know, it seems like in this game, the shots miss a little bit more left and right than they do up and down. I say as I've missed this guy over under quite a bit. We'll give him a good smacking, hopefully. Yeah. Oh, we're taking some pretty okay damage here. And that other St. Louis should be dead, yeah. So we'll continue to angle. That was a good broadside from him. We'll actually go ahead and pop our battleship repair, and you'll see how much health we get back. This guy really doesn't have a chance against me, especially if I start getting in close to where my secondaries are going to start opening up on him, and he's dead in the water. So we'll go ahead and turn and get all of our guns in play. He's trying to back up. I don't know why. Good shots there, and then we'll go ahead and get our rear turrets on target. And that should take him out.
Enemy cruiser destroyed.
Now, St. Louis are a tough nut to crack, especially when you're in a Tier 3 South Carolina. This is, for sure, not the best battleship in the game. You know, it's the earliest U.S. battleship that you can have access to, and it's not the greatest. Okay, destroyer time. How do we deal with an enemy destroyer in a battleship? Well, first and foremost, you want to continue to have your nose pointed into the destroyer. You never want to give the destroyer your broadside. Let's lift on the enemy team. A cruiser, 2 destroyers, and a battleship.
Torpedoes to port.
And they are in our cap circle, and we hopefully can be in their cap circle. This is the problem. This is the problem with a slow U.S. battleship. It's going to take me forever to get around this island, and it's going to take me forever to try to get back to base. So our only hopes rest on that South Carolina to interrupt that our base capture. And this is why you keep your bow pointed towards destroyers. If those torpedoes were aimed at me, I could have adjusted a little bit and had them miss. I think there's just one ship in our base, so hopefully, just like this, you can see that we're going to be able to sail right through the gap here and have those torpedoes miss us completely. Definitely always want to keep your, yeah, we really hopefully need to get that South Carolina interrupting. Churn, 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 churn. Yep, and there you go. This is why you keep your nose towards the enemy destroyers. Now, I'm trying to, like, kind of zigzag feather down, because the position that I really want to be in is both in the enemy cap circle, but within range. So there's another destroyer over there, unfortunately, which means that we're going to be hit by a torpedo. It's going to take a lot of damage. Not going to cause any flooding, though. So we know their other destroyer is actually in their cap circle as well. That was my bad, you know, for not keeping my nose pointed in that direction. But also just kind of at these low-tier games, especially if you don't have a cruiser screen.
Torpedoes, direct front.
It's going to be really difficult for... And you don't have any spotting aircraft or anything like that. It's difficult for you to see these enemy destroyers. This guy's on the other side of the island, so he's going to be, like, looking to get a good torp run. Kind of an ambush torp run. So I'm going to go ahead and repair again, just so one torp doesn't take me out. And we'll wait for him to come around the corner. And I do not want to be ambushed by him. So we will slow down and keep our nose pointed right where he was going to appear. Yep, right there. So hopefully we can avoid getting torped by this guy. At the same time, we're now in range of, he's going to try to come around. We're now in range of the enemies that were in our cap circle, where we're sort of in range. He just exited. Now we're in range. Maybe. I think this guy's going to be dead from fire before I even get a chance, yeah. No, this is the Chester down there. So I'll hold down the fort here. I'm not capping because their destroyer is also in the cap circle. And he's going to get me here. I'm going to be turning hard to hopefully avoid his torpedoes. And we'll see if our secondaries can actually hit him. So we avoided that first spread. And I'm going to continue to churn, because I want to stay in this cap circle and keep him. Cut speed, and chase rudder, and hopefully those will miss. Hopefully those will miss if we straighten out a little bit. Yep, just like that. Cut speed to kill the momentum. And keep our rear batteries pointed towards this guy. He's the last one left, so after I fire this salvo, I'm actually going to go ahead and switch to HE. And hopefully some of those shells hit him and do some pretty good damage. I'll go ahead and load HE at this point. And we don't want to give this guy a broadside. So I'm going to keep my ass pointed towards him to avoid those torpedoes. And hopefully our team comes back and gets us back up. We'll keep zigzagging. We'll keep zigzagging and avoid his torpedoes. And then when our turrets come back up, hopefully this guy likes giant HE shells to his face. And we'll go ahead and repair again. Use our last one. Just get a little more health, just in case something bad happens. You can see that we don't have many secondaries pointing at him, because we do have the ass to him. We don't want to give him the broadside. Definitely don't want to give him the broadside. Okay, we're going to go ahead and not churn here to keep our forward momentum going, so these will pass behind our rear. And now we'll go ahead and start zigzag backing again. And hopefully these ones will miss as well. I think we're going to hit by one here. Yeah, we're going to get hit by one. We'll go ahead and repair because we've got flooding going on. But now we should have this guy dead to rest. And the game won.
Enemy destroyer foundered.
So that's just a few tips in U.S. battleships. Basically, your strengths are that you have a lot of armor, and that given your hull shape in the early U.S. battleships, you're slow, but you have pretty good maneuverability. Your turning circle is pretty tight, and while it takes a long time for your rudder to actually shift from full starboard to full port and vice versa, once your rudder starts turning from neutral, your bow responds very fast. So it's very easy, and you're very quick to change heading and change direction. It takes a little more time to, stop going that direction once you start going that direction and zigzag back the other way. That's just due to the rudder time. But the turning circle, once you are going and once your rudder is biting into the water, your ship responds very fast, very nimbly. So even when you are kind of in a situation like that, one-on-one versus a destroyer, if A, the destroyer captain's not very good, like I fear that guy was, probably pretty new, doesn't know, how to use torpedoes that effectively. But B, also, if you just are playing smart and not giving a destroyer your broadside, keeping either your bow or your stern pointing towards him at all times, zigzagging, changing speeds, doing everything like that to avoid the torpedoes, you can last quite a long time. And we actually did end up taking him out as well. Earlier in the match, you saw me go against both battleships and cruisers. And battleship versus battleship, what you want to be doing is definitely angling your ship, like I showed you, pointing your bow into the enemy. Not completely, because you definitely want to kind of go at almost like a 30 to 45 degree angle. What that does is A, increases your armor thickness, B, makes you a harder target to hit, especially if you're zigzagging while doing that, but I wouldn't recommend that due to your turret your first time. And then B, what it allows you to do is, like I said, it covers your citadel, and it makes it very, very hard for you to be citadeled in a battleship, while you're able to fire your forward batteries, and then once the enemy is fired and you're in the clear, you can straighten your ship out, get your rear batteries in play, fire them off, and then go ahead and turn back in to angle up and cover up for when he's reloaded, to not give him the center broadside of your ship. Basically, in a battleship, you definitely never want to be giving the enemy the broadside of your ship, whatever it is, cruiser, battleship, destroyer, either torpedoes or shells coming in. That's where they got to do the most damage, hitting you there. Against cruisers, I guess, they're mostly going to be spamming HE, so it really doesn't matter. Cruisers, you just want to make sure that you're aiming well, so make sure you're firing those tracking shots, observing the fall of shot, adjusting aim, and then firing your first salvo. Because versus cruisers, really, with the HE spam, they can burn you down, especially at these lower tiers, pretty easily. So the only defense against that is just absolutely slamming them with a well-placed, well-aimed AP salvo that hopefully gets 2 or 3 citadel hits and can instantly take them out, or at least shave off 70% of their health in one hit and make them think twice about sticking around. Also with cruisers, just due to the RNG factor and the dispersion of guns at range, you probably want to get, if they're American cruisers, so if they're American cruisers that don't have torpedoes, you don't want to get very close to Japanese cruisers with torpedoes, because they can use those as equalization factors. But against American cruisers, you probably do want to close the range just so your guns are more accurate. And if you get close enough, your secondaries can actually come into effect. And your secondaries will do a lot of damage to American cruisers as well. And the thing is, at range, it really doesn't matter. They're going to be able to hit you just as much as they're going to be able to hit you close up, because cruisers have pretty accurate guns. But your gun dispersion at range is ginormous. So you want to do all you can to close that distance and get a little more accurate fire on. Probably not point blank, because at super close ranges, they might be able to kind of ring around the rosy and run around your turrets. But at the same time, you don't want to be so far away that you're not able to hit them, and they're able to change heading, change direction, change speed in the 10, 12 seconds that your shells are in the air. Probably 5, 7 seconds that your shells are in the air, making it super hard to hit a cruiser captain that knows what he's doing versus a battleship. So that's going to be it for the U.S. battleship kind of overview tactics at these lower tiers. Some tips and tricks for things that you want to be doing to maximize your effect on the battlefield, stay safe, and how you should be engaging the various enemy types that you come across. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.